Fantastic Four First Steps was calm. I don't think it was anything too crazy, but I definitely enjoyed the movie. I'm happy we're starting to see these fun superhero movies again, and I definitely had a lot of fun watching this. I like that the movie opened with a montage showing the Fantastic Four in action, you know, even referencing the first comic cover. And I love how it heavily focused on them acting as a family. There was certainly more of them talking things out rather than fighting bad guys. I love the world of Earth 828. The retro 60s style was so cool and the world felt lived in. I hope moving forward more superhero movies do this. You saw in Superman their world was more comic-like, and it just feels appropriate for these characters. I think each actor performed well, and I like how they each sort of had what seemed like an equal amount of screen time. And while the Thing does look good and comic accurate, I still would have preferred a practical look. You know, sometimes he just looked a little bit photoshopped into the movie. The whole space sequence I thought was absolutely beautiful. Sue giving birth by a black hole while Johnny Storm fights the Silver Surfer was so Fantastic Four and so comic booky. When movies do wild shit like that, it just puts me in a trance. These superhero movies need to keep tapping into like the ultra fiction shit. And you can really feel Galactus's size. He was massive. Pause. I'm just glad to finally see a comic accurate version of him. He's one of those characters that I've been waiting for years. You know, anytime I talk about Fantastic Four, I'm gonna mention how they sold my boy Lakeith Stanfield. Literally would have been the perfect casting. I still have hope, but this version of Silver Surfer was pretty badass. You know, the movie felt kind of short though. I mean, I guess there really isn't much you can do with a villain who is pretty much a force of nature, but I think I maybe would have liked just a little bit more and maybe a bit more setup for the next movie, because I thought Johnny was gonna sacrifice himself like in Fantastic Four 587, and then that would have led to him and Galactus being teleported to the main timeline, and that's how the team gets to the main timeline. But I forgot that it wasn't really a dimension portal, it was more just like a distance portal. You know, finally we got our first look at Doom on screen. But I mean, why is he flexing his Party City mask like that? You know, I hope this doesn't mean he'll be taking it on and off, because Doom is like the one character who does not remove his mask ever. And yes, this is definitely the best Fantastic Four movie, but I do want to mention that those first two movies in the early 2000s are not as bad as people say. Seriously, go back and rewatch them. They're actually pretty good. You know, besides Doom and Sue, the rest of it is pretty solid. It's not like it's like the Ghost Rider movies or Green Lantern. And like I said in my superhero hypeness video, along with Superman, I'm glad this movie came out, because the perception of Superman and Fantastic Four in the general public's eye was very altered. You know, people thought Superman was boring and people thought Fantastic Four were whack as fuck. But I'm glad these movies came out to show that these characters are cool. And I think from now on, these movies are going to be corrections for the general public's eye. Because, you know, we're gonna get a Green Lantern show, we're gonna get a new Wonder Woman, we're gonna get X-Men in the future. I think now, from now on, this is sort of like the resurrection or correction era of superhero movies. No more leather suits, no more grounded takes, no more trying to make it realistic. Now there's more so catering to keeping it comic accurate, but also showing why people love these comics in the first place. Fantastic Four First Steps, 7 out of 10. I don't know, I liked a lot about it, but it wasn't anything super fantastic.